There is a passage in the Bible so mysterious that many readers skip over it without realizing what it truly says. It is only 8 verses long, yet those 8 verses describe something staggering: a cosmic courtroom, a gathering of divine beings, and a moment when God himself stands to judge other gods. Psalm 82 begins with words that echo like thunder across the unseen world. God stands in the congregation of the mighty. He judges among the gods. This is not poetry about human kings. This is not metaphor about earthly rulers. A council where the Most High rises to pronounce judgment. But why would God judge other gods? Who were these beings? And why does the psalm end with a shocking declaration? You are gods, yet you will die like men. To understand what is happening in Psalm 82, we must travel deep into one of the Bible's most forgotten mysteries, the divine council. Ancient Israel did not imagine heaven as an empty throne room. The scriptures repeatedly describe God surrounded by heavenly beings. In the book of Job, we read that the sons of God gathered before the Lord. In the book of Kings, the prophet Micaiah saw the Lord seated on his throne while the host of heaven stood around him. In the book of Daniel, thousands upon thousands of heavenly beings stood before the Ancient of Days. These scenes reveal something extraordinary. God rules the universe as a king, but he presides over a council. This council consists of powerful spiritual beings, sometimes called sons of God, Holy One's Watchers, or simply gods. This language might sound shocking to modern readers. But in the ancient world, the word God did not always mean the supreme creator. It often referred to any powerful being that lived in the spiritual realm. Angels, cherubim, seraphim, or rulers placed over nations. The Bible never says these beings created the universe. They are not equal to God. They are servants. Yet they are powerful, and they were given responsibility. Responsibilities that, according to Psalm 82, they abused. Psalm 82 opens with a dramatic image. God stands. In ancient courts, when a king sat, it meant judgment had not yet begun. But when a king stood, it meant a verdict was about to be declared. God rises in the assembly of the divine beings. And then he speaks. How long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? This statement reveals something profound. These heavenly beings were not merely observers. They were rulers, judges, administrators of nations. Their task was to guide humanity according to justice. But instead of protecting the weak and defending the poor, they had corrupted their authority. The psalm continues, defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Free them from the hand of the wicked. These are not instructions being given to humans. These are accusations. God is confronting divine rulers who failed their mission. Instead of guiding nations toward righteousness, they allowed corruption, oppression, and violence to spread across the earth, and the consequences were catastrophic. After listing their failures, the psalm reveals the spiritual impact of their corruption. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. In ancient Hebrew thought, the world was believed to stand upon moral and spiritual foundations: justice, truth, righteous leadership. When those foundations collapse, chaos spreads across the world. Psalm 82 suggests something startling. The corruption of these spiritual rulers destabilized the entire human world. Wars, oppression, kingdoms built on violence, empires fueled by greed. These were not merely human mistakes. They were symptoms of a deeper spiritual rebellion, and the divine council was responsible. Then comes one of the most controversial statements in the Bible. God says to them, I said, you are gods. All of you are sons of the Most High. This statement confirms that the beings being judged are not humans. They are spiritual beings who belong to the heavenly realm. Sons of the Most High was a title used in ancient scripture for divine beings. Yet immediately after acknowledging their status, God delivers a devastating verdict. You will die like men. This sentence stunned ancient readers. Spiritual beings were believed to be immortal. Yet here God declares that their rebellion will lead to death. Not symbolic death. Actual destruction. Their power will be removed, their authority stripped away, and their existence brought to an end. The divine rulers who once governed nations would be judged. To understand why these beings existed, we must go back to an event recorded in the book of Deuteronomy. After the Tower of Babel, humanity was scattered across the earth. Languages were divided, nations formed. But according to an ancient reading of Deuteronomy, something else happened. God divided the nations according to the number of the sons of God. In other words, heavenly rulers were assigned oversight over the nations of the world. Israel, however, remained under the direct authority of the Lord himself. This explains why the Old Testament repeatedly describes other nations worshiping false gods. Those gods were not imaginary. They were rebellious spiritual rulers who had accepted worship that belonged only to the Creator. Instead of guiding humanity toward truth, they allowed themselves to be worshipped as divine kings. This corruption is exactly what Psalm 82 confronts. God stands before them and declares their rule finished. Centuries later, Jesus referenced Psalm 82 during a confrontation recorded in the Gospel of John. When religious leaders accused him of blasphemy for claiming divine authority, Jesus replied, "Is it not written in your law, 'I said, you are gods'?" This response puzzled many readers. Why would Jesus quote such a mysterious verse? Because he was pointing to a deeper truth. If Scripture could call divine beings gods without challenging the supremacy of the Most High, then his claim to be the Son of God was not blasphemy. But there may be an even deeper layer. By quoting Psalm 82, Jesus may have been reminding his listeners that the corrupt rulers of the spiritual world were already under judgment, and his mission was to complete that judgment. The New Testament frequently hints that the world is influenced by unseen spiritual powers. Paul wrote that believers struggle not merely against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, spiritual forces in heavenly places. These descriptions sound strikingly similar to the beings described in Psalm 82. According to this interpretation, the divine council that once governed the nations had become corrupt, and humanity now lived in a world shaped by their influence. But the Bible declares that their authority is temporary. The judgment spoken in Psalm 82 is not merely ancient history. It is prophecy, a declaration that their power will ultimately collapse. Psalm 82 ends with a dramatic prayer. "Arise, O God, judge the earth, for you shall inherit all nations." The psalmist is asking God to take direct control of the world again, to reclaim the nations, to end the rule of corrupt spiritual powers. And according to the New Testament, this process began with the arrival of Christ. Through his life, death, and resurrection, the authority of these rebellious powers began to crumble. The kingdoms of darkness began to lose their hold, and a new kingdom began to rise. A kingdom not ruled by corrupt divine beings, but by the King of Kings himself. Psalm 82 is only 8 verses long. Yet within those 8 verses lies an entire cosmic drama, a heavenly courtroom, a council of divine rulers, a verdict that echoes across the spiritual realm. You are gods, yet you will die like men. It is a reminder that power, whether human or spiritual, is accountable to the Creator. And one day, every throne will face judgment, even those that once ruled among the stars.